Hey guys, it is Christina here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are having the most amazing day ever. Now today I wanted to talk about the gut microbiome because of course that's one of the areas that I have worked with for majority of my actual naturopathic working career. And interestingly enough, today I received a question around, because I was sharing about my carnivore journey and what I'm eating and so on, and that I don't eat really plants. Like I do eat some herbs, so I just want to be clear that I do eat herbs and spices, and I have lemon juice and lime juice, like though it's pretty much the extent of the plants that I actually consume at this point in time. Now I'm 4 months in and doing great. I've had lots and lots of amazing results. So just to give you a quick snapshot, I've lost 35 kilos of weight, which is around 77 pounds. My eyesight is better, so you'll notice I haven't got my glasses on. I normally wear glasses 100% of the time, or except for when I'm sleeping. But mostly now I keep forgetting to put them on, because it's actually not until I go to read something with some fine print that I go, oh, hang on, I need my glasses. And that's actually, you know, when I feel like I need them now versus all of the time. So I rarely am wearing them. Off and on, like I'm still sporadically off and on wearing them, but majority of the time I forget to put them on just because I'm not being prompted by my eyesight to actually put them on. Diabetes has reversed for me, so you know, I have not been to a doctor, won't go to a doctor unless, you know, I'm critically ill and dying. So I haven't been to a doctor to be diagnosed with diabetes. I have, as a naturopath, can order my own bloods and have certainly done that and monitored my own bloods over the years. Now I would fit into the category prior to this. I would fit into the category of a diabetic because my blood sugar was very, very high. And it was to the point where I probably should have gone into a hospital and gone on an insulin pump, but that is not the choice that I wanted to make. It's not what I'm recommending for other people to do. It's a choice that I wanted to make for my own personal health. And so with saying that, my blood sugars are stabilized, they're back within normal range, and it's all based on food. There's no medication in there. I'm not even using herbs to actually bring those blood glucoses down, and we do have some beautiful herbs that can help that. I'm not using those herbs. What else? Energy is really good. I'm up at most mornings. I'm up around 4:30, 5 o'clock. Sometimes a little bit later, just depending. Like on Thursday nights, I work really late because I have a GAPS group call that I do where I'm coaching a group of people through gut health issues. And you know, that usually stays until late. Sometimes I'm not done there between, you know, 10 and 12 sometimes. And so that means that I work late and I end up sleeping late the next morning. Just to kind of match up with what I'm not getting by going to bed earlier, which is what I normally do. So I normally go to bed around 7, 8 o'clock, just depending on what's actually happening. But as soon as the sun goes down, I'm like creeping into my tent and starting to go off to bed. Maybe I'll watch some things or I'll listen to a podcast or something, but generally speaking, I'm going off to bed around that time. What else? So energy is good. My hair is growing back, so my hair is like definitely like nearly double, tripled in thickness. Like I've got about this much length. That is fresh growth that's happened over the last 4 months, and it's really interesting because like I've got like this at some point I'm going to have to do a cut so that it all matches up, but it's like I've got all this new hair that I have to deal with, that I have to, like, the other night was my birthday's, it was my daughter's, birthday, and she was turning 18, so I was, you know, straightening my hair and doing my hair, so, you know, for the photos and all of that type of stuff, and to kind of make it a little bit special. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much more of this that I have to do than what I had to do, you know, 4 months ago, because it has doubled, and, you know, so I think it's almost nearly starting to triple as well. Like, and I've got patches of hair, like I had a big baldy patch there that's now like really growing in and covering up, and yeah, the hair is growing, so I'm loving that. There is new challenges though. I have to learn to style it and I have to learn to do stuff with it, which is not a problem. It is just something different. Anyway, so yeah, hair's regrowing, eyesight's improving, weight is lost, blood sugars have rebalanced. The thyroid is rebalancing itself. My metabolic health is improving. My risk of things like heart disease and heart attack are decreasing. Like all of these beneficial things are actually happening for me. And I was sharing about that this morning, and I got a question on my Facebook page which was, have you thought about gut health, and have you thought about the microbiome and how those microbes need things like polyphenols and a whole heap of things like fibers, etc., a whole heap of things to actually, to feed them. And that has been one of the things that has been in the back of my mind, because having dealt with gut health, one of the things that I have prided myself on, or have done over the last 10 years of my career, is I've created courses on how to make fermented foods, and how to do sauerkraut, and how to do fermented vegetables, and how to do fermented condiments, and all of this stuff. I've created courses on how to make those things, and now I'm saying that you don't need to consume plants in order to be healthy. Now, what I want to do is clarify is that you don't need them for survival. You don't actually need them to survive and thrive. We choose to have them for multiple different reasons, one of which is because it has been one of the methods in which we have staved off things like starvation, and we've used plants to keep us alive. But so we've grown gardens and those types of things, and then of course we've learnt to flavor those vegetables so that we enjoy eating them, etc. Fruits are slightly different. I think that majority of people tend to enjoy fruits from time to time, if not a little bit more, but essentially what I'm saying is you don't need them to actually thrive and to be strong and robust. And for certainly a portion of the population that is like me, having them, especially at this point in time, like if I was to go and eat some fruits and vegetables right now, I'm going to dysregulate my blood glucose. My blood glucose is going to come out, and was one of the main reasons that I started carnivore for myself, was to get my blood sugar into control and under control and managed. And so I know going to eat those right now would not actually serve me, would actually put me would increase all of those risk factors that I just mentioned. And so I don't want to do that. Now, in response to this question, it's been one of the questions that has been rattling around in my brain, because when I started carnivore, really I was like, you know what? I'm going to put all of the knowledge that I have in regards to fruits and vegetables, what's in them, etc. I'm actually just going to put that on the shelf. I'm just going to put it to the side right now. And I'm actually going to experiment. I'm going to experiment with my body, and anybody else who is keen to experiment with me, I will support them through that experimentation as well, with the current knowledge that I have on those types of things. And so I did that, and I went with the proviso that at any point in time I could change my mind. I reserve the right to change my mind at any point in time and make a decision that's different to what I've currently got, and so on. But if it's working for me, I'm going to keep doing it. And so as I've been going through this journey for the last 4 months, one of the things that has, come up in my brain is that all of this stuff about fermented foods. And when people have asked me, what I have essentially said, and what I still maybe kind of think in the back of my brain, is that when I've reached my own personal health goals, like let's say I'm healthy and well, my weight is down, my blood glucose is all sorted, all of the stuff, and I'm feeling amazing. When I have sorted those and I've got to those goals that I have in my mind for them, at that point in time, I may choose to move to more ketovore, where I include some of those fruits and vegetables in my diet. Now, I may choose to do that. That's what I'm thinking in the back of my head, that might be a choice that I might make at that point in time. I'm certainly not at that point in time. I'm a long way from that point in time. I would say I'm easily 12 months away from that point in time, if not a little bit longer. And so I'm certainly not at that space where that is the option or the choice that I'm going to make at this point. But I may. And I may, if I was going to do that, and if I was looking at the optimal diet for me at that point in time when I've reached those goals, it might include some sauerkraut and some fermented foods like some gherkin, etc. And I think that's probably how I would actually mostly look at including vegetables again, if I was going to include them, was to have them fermented, knowing that fermentation process pre-digests those foods. Now that might be what I do, and I might look at in particular fruits or vegetables that are considered fruits like avocado, etc., because the plant toxins in those particular ones are actually lower than what you would find in your leafy greens and so on. And so from that perspective, that's what I may do. I don't know. I might actually get to that point and go, you know what? I don't miss them. I'm not craving them. I don't see that they're going to add anything to my life. I might try it out, and if it adds something, then I might keep it. If it doesn't, I might not do it. But I reserve the right to make that choice when I get to that point in my actual journey. And when I'm supporting other people, I have had a whole bunch of diabetics go through 12 weeks of carnivore. Some of them are still on carnivore, and they've been on it now for 6 months. Some people have gone the 12 weeks and blood sugar was all regulated, and they went, you know what, I want some food that is plant matter. So they've brought back avocados, and we've just brought one in slowly at a time and just seen how's your body responding, what's your blood glucose doing, what's your weight doing, all of that type of stuff, and watched how their body has gone. The same with, bringing in a little bit of berries and those types of things. We've just brought them really slowly in, watched what's actually happening with their body. Is it serving you? Is it taking away from you? All of that type of stuff, and asking those questions. And for some of those people, amazing, no problems. Others of those people, it certainly increased their blood glucose, and it, reversed or started to undo some of the stuff that they'd done. So they went back to carnivore at this point in time, and they may again try bringing some of those plants in. Now, I support people in all sorts of different ways with their own health, but when I'm talking about my health, I know that at this point in time, those foods are not going to be beneficial for me, so I'm not going to consume them. I'm going to leave them out. Now, when it comes to gut health, that was one of the things that was rattling around in my brain going, okay, what do I think about this? Like, what are my thoughts on this? What do I know about this? What do I think about this? And my answer to that question is, and it came to me this morning, I was like, oh, of course, Christina. What I was thinking about this morning when I was answering this question in Facebook was that, because the question was posed that these probiotics or these bacteria need these specific things in order to, they eat them, that's their food source, etc. And I was like, actually, it's not. Like, yes, for some, like certainly for sauerkraut and for your other types of krauts, they are consuming the fiber and those types of things in the actual products that's their food source, right? The sugars and the carbohydrates within those foods is their food source, and that's why they breed, and then they take over, and then they're consuming that food. But we have whole fermented probiotic rich groups that don't use any plants whatsoever. So milk kefir, which is one of the most potent probiotics on the planet, like one of the most potent probiotic foods on the planet, if you make homemade milk kefir, it can have anywhere between 80 to 120 different microbial families within that product. We can't make anything, like pharmaceutically wise, we can't make a powder, we can't make anything else that even comes close to matching what milk kefir can do in regards to the probiotic different strands. So for example, yogurt has about 3 different strands of probiotics in it. They might have billions of those strands, but they only have about 3 different strands. Milk kefir can have about 80 to 120 different strands and have billions of each of those 80 different strands. Sauerkraut can have anywhere between 40 and 60. Kombucha usually has about 40. Water kefir has about 40 as well. And so when I think water kefir water kefir is using, okay, so let me clarify that. Water kefir is using plants because it's using sugar. Kombucha is as well. Kombucha is converting sugar into probiotics, so I'm just clarifying that for myself. But milk kefir does not. Milk kefir uses milk. It's using lactose from the cow or the goat or the sheep or whatever animal that milk has come from, and that is its food source, and it is converting that sugar from that into the actual probiotics that we then consume. Now, from a gut health point of view, I know that if I have a client that can't do dairy, that at some point in time, if we can't get dairy in within a couple of years, then what we're going to need to do is actually start to look at probiotic enemas or suppositories. Now, the reason we need to start doing that is because things like our krauts don't get those probiotics all the way down into the low intestines. They get somewhere within the small intestine, and at that point, the acid from the stomach, etc., has actually killed them off. But probiotics that are within dairy have kind of like a force field. They're kind of protected, And that protection allows them to get all the way through the digestive system. And so I know from working with these clients for 10 odd years that if we can't get some type of fermented dairy in for them, at some point we're going to have to look at putting some probiotics up the bottom, so that we can repopulate the lower part of the bowel. And I'd much rather do that with yogurt and milk kefir and, you know, fermented cheeses and those types of things, bring those in. And it was one of those eye-opening moments today, and this has been an interesting thing for me in my own journey with this, is that sifting through my knowledge that I've had, things that I've been taught through college, things that, you know, I've learnt through all sorts of different other things, sifting through my own knowledge and going, okay, but what about this? And what about this? And this was one of those moments where this morning it was like, ping, oh my gosh, okay, there are complete probiotics that are the most powerful probiotics on the face of the earth that are carnivore. Milk kefir is a carnivore product, and you can add it to your diet. Some people struggle with it, some people don't. Most people have not got a problem with it, but at the end of the day, if you're healthier, if all of your markers are less, what is the choice that you make? And that was part of my reply today. And I might not have done it as succinctly as I would have liked, but essentially my question back is, and it's the same with the whole cholesterol thing. So I know Ken Berry was talking about this on his page when he was talking about to other doctors who were freaking out about high cholesterol. And he said, what's worse, high cholesterol or high blood glucose? If we can reduce the blood glucose, do we not decrease the risk of heart attack and heart disease? And that was an eye-opening moment for a lot of doctors as well, where they went, oh, hang on, actually, yes, okay, yes, we are decreasing the risk because we are reducing the grouping of risk factors. And the same logic came to me this morning, that, you know, if I've had all of these amazing results, right, and my markers are less, like I'm less likely to have a heart attack, I'm less likely to have heart disease, I'm less likely to have, you know, any diabetic problems, I'm less likely to have all of these things. If those are less, and I'm healthier and better than I was eating the plants, what choice should I make? Does the theory of the microbiome needing fiber and all sorts of other stuff, does that theory outbalance the actual practical results that I have? And at this point in time, putting my own health in my hands, knowing that at the end of the day, no doctor is actually going to take responsibility for my health. They're not going to be in my kitchen, they're not going to be looking after my kids. If I die by following their result, by following their advice, they're not going to actually take care of my family. They're not going to pay their bills, they're not going to drive them around, they're not going to, you know, walk my kids down their aisle, all of that type of stuff. I have to be responsible for my health and those outcomes. Knowing that I'm better without them, what should I do? And my answer to that is, of course, continue to do the thing that's going to make you healthier and that's working for you. Continue to do that. And if at any point that stops working, I might change. I might do something different. But at this point in time, it hasn't. And it is continuing to improve my health. It's continuing to mean that my children have a mother around, continuing to mean that I'm lowering, you know, my risks of any other chronic health issues that might come from having high blood glucose, having a high weight, having high, you know, other stuff that is there. So that is my answer to my question, essentially, that we've got the most powerful probiotics on earth, milk kefir, that we can make at home, that is easy and cheap, that does not require plants to actually eat it, except if you count that the cow needs to eat grass to make the milk. There's my thoughts. All right, I look forward to hearing from you. Let me know what you think, and bye for now. See you later.